Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today, we're getting into the spooky season. We're getting ready for Halloween, for Fair Evolved or Fair Ascended. It's time for a haunted mansion or haunted abandoned manor. Of course, you can just build this whole build without making it abandoned, without missing glass, without boarding it all up. It's totally up to you, but it's just a nice, cool manner. And we'll, of course, show you how to do those boarded up effects as well. Now, as always, if you enjoy these build tutorials and you want to make sure that you see more of them, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you want to support me even more, you can consider becoming a YouTube member. Tier 2 members actually get early access to every video that I post. As far as I know, this build should be totally possible on official servers as well. Of course, there's some decorations that I've used that are mods, but you can definitely build the main structure totally without it. There is a custom cosmetic that we will be using besides the Bob Talltail skins for the steampunk skin and the frontier skin. We'll also be using a custom cosmetic called Manor mod, which adds some nice pieces that we'll use for this build as well. So yeah, you might want to grab it. And whilst you're at it, you could even download the Gothic custom cosmetic to add maybe some extra gargoyles to your build too, which is definitely something that I'm planning. But first, I wanted to make sure that I got this tutorial out there for you guys. So with that being said, let's get into the building. Okay, and as always, we start off with a foundation. And we want to start with a foundation that is 5 wide. So just 5 full foundations like so. And then make it 12 long in total. So just go all the way until we have a nice 12 long. So it's quite a long build, but we're going to have some additions. Then, of course, we want to make this 5 again and then fill in the rest. So there we go. This should be the foundation, 5 by 12. That is how we're going to start. Then over here, we're going to extend it by 3 and then here as well by 3. So a 3 by 3 little addition, 1 from the right side to get us started here on the front. Here on the other side of the building, we also want to make a little addition by adding triangle foundations like so to kind of add a rounded shape to the end of that. Then we'll take out our normal foundations next to the 3 by 3 we made. We're going to add 5 normal foundations like so. And then have 2 more here in front with a gap of 1 in between. Then it's going to be time to add in some pillars just to make the division of the whole build a little bit more clear. We're going to start with 4 pillars on top of each other and then also going down into the ground, of course. And we want to do one of those on each of the corners of the main foundation. So 4 high connecting to the ground, 4 high, connect back to the ground again. And then for the last corner, we're going to do the exact same, 4 high and connecting to the ground. Then here on this side, we can actually also make a 4 high pillar after this gap of 1 on both sides to kind of line off that little shape that we have extra. Here at the back, we also want to make sure that we have some pillars. You want to have this gap of 4, then have the pillars go 4 high, then another gap of 4, and then once again have the pillars go 4 high like so. Then we want to, of course, have a pillar here on the corner where the little 3 by 3 starts. So the other pillar is going to go right there because that's originally where the 3 by 3 started. Then, of course, here on this corner, we're also going to raise up these pillars 4 high in total from the level of the foundation. We're actually going to add in an extra pillar right here, and that's mostly because of this corner to kind of make sure that that lines up on both sides. We'll have some 4 high pillars right here, which is going to be where the main entrance is going to be. And then once again, we'll add in a pillar right there as well. And just to be sure, we'll add one here to kind of to balance that out again. So this is a lot of pillars, a lot of chaos, but it's gonna work out. And there's a few more pillars that we want to add. First of all, in these corners, we want to add pillars that are going to be 4 high, so just as high as the main building. Here we're going to add pillars that are 3 high, so slightly lower, of course, connecting it up all the way down. And then here we're going to add some pillars that are 2 high, just like that. It may seem a little chaotic, but this is just all the pillars that we need to get us started. And these we're all going to change to the steampunk skin. So we're going to go around and do this everywhere and then change them to the stone variant as well. It's just a little bit easier to get that over with right away. And now it's still quite easy to access those. So let's go around the whole build and update them to the stone pillar variant from the steampunk skins. Okay, so we have all the pillars looking nice and steampunky. Well, this is not really steampunky. This is just a nice stone pillar here for this manor. And then it's time to get started here on the main entrance. So what we want to do is we want to have 2 normal walls right there. We want to have some slope walls underneath and some slope walls on top to get this kind of shape. And if you do have overlapping on, you could also add in some quarter walls right there to kind of round off this shape a little bit more. But if you can't overlap or you just prefer the other look, you can also, of course, keep the slope walls just like that. Then here on the side, we're just going to fill in all the way up until the end of the pillars. This side as well, kind of just to create a nice little entrance. Then here we're going to create the main entrance for our doors. So we'll get some of our quarter walls in place. Then we'll go to the double doorway and we have that in the middle here. And then some other quarter walls on the side. And then we can just go back to the normal wall variant and fill in the rest of this wall with normal walls so that we have a nice little entrance. And we can actually add our door in there as well. Then we can grab our normal walls. We'll have a normal wall right there. We'll have a normal wall right here and there as well. And of course, right there. Then we'll change to the window skin. We'll have 2 windows right there on the top. We'll have another window right there on the top. And we'll have one right here in the corner. And right there in the corner as well. Then we can actually also have these windows on top of the side of this bit. We might as well go ahead and do that already so that we basically have that all for the front side. We'll change back to the normal wall and fill in the rest of this wall completely from top to bottom. This wall, we can do that as well. We can actually fill in this entire side wall for this bit. Then here, we also just want to fill in the wall next to the door. This will leave open for now. And this wall, we can also fill in. We might as well do that here as well. So this side, this corner is going to be filled in. And then these walls also are just going to be filled in with normal walls like that. This is where we're going to go into a custom cosmetic tab. And you're going to use the Manor cosmetics that we've downloaded. We're going to look for the archway. There should be a stone arch skin that is for the stone wall. Drag that onto the little house icon. And then this is the one that we're going to use to create those nice curves here on the front of the build. And they are really nice. You can use these on official as well. And they just allow you to get the shapes in that you could not otherwise do. Then we'll take some stone railings. We'll add a railing right there. Right here, and right there as well to kind of create that little walkway in the front of our building. We'll take out some stairs. We want to add those right here in front. If you are allowed to place it down, we want to have some sloped walls on the side. Kind of depends on how far it sticks out above the landscape. And then we can also add some railings on the side of those stairs just to kind of make them look a little bit nicer. Then we'll take out our wooden ramps. We'll flip them upside down. We'll place them on top of here like so. And here we want to do the same to create a little roof for this walkway that we've got going on. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a slope wall that fits in here. What you could do is have the railing instead if you're allowed to. If you're not, you can just leave it open as is. Then we'll take out our steampunk skin. We'll change these ones. The first layer basically of the build to the steampunk skin, because that looks a little bit nicer. We want to do that here on the side as well. And then we'll also be updating these windows and this top layer of the build, so that we all have the nice fancy steampunk skin, but just the top and the bottom layer. Then here in front, we actually want to change these two as well, those as well, and then we might as well fill in the rest. And then you can pick whether you like the metal look more or you prefer to keep the stone. For this build, I personally would go with the stone. Okay, then we're almost done with the little entrance bit. It's still going to take a little bit more work. We're going to add in walls like this and right here as well, all the way to the top. We want to take out that archway cosmetic here again, so that we have the arches here on the inside as well, just to kind of get that nice curve going inside. And we'll take out our nice steampunk skin again for the top two of that part of the roof. Then we'll start adding in the roof pieces. At first, we're gonna fill in this part of the roof with two easy pieces like this. And we want to extend those outside by one, so we have an overhang of one. Then we can actually fill in some slope walls on top of here and then get this shape going like so, changing those all to the steampunk skin just to look a little bit nicer. Then we want to grab our stone railings. We want to first of all place a little quarter wall right here, snap a thin pillar to it, then we can remove the quarter wall again. We'll take out our railings this time, add a nice railing on top of the roof right here, have some railings below the edge of the roof as well, and then we want to flip around our railing and add them here to the end of the roof, just as a little overhang basically that we create this way. There we go. So it should look like this. Then this is where we grab our steampunk skin once more and change all these textures to look a little bit more fancy. There we go. All of them. This one as well, just so that you get this kind of look. And then as a little end detail piece, we want to have this desk light on top of the pillar. You don't need to turn it on, but it's just like a little bulb on top of there, which is just a nice little detail which you can add. There we go. The entrance is already starting to look quite nice indeed. Okay, for this side, we're going to continue the wall right here at the top. This is also the one that will change to the nice fancy skins. Then we'll take out our doorways. We'll add them right here. We'll go to the tall doorways and we'll add them for the rest of the wall here, basically creating some big windows. The middle one, we want to turn into the fancy skin. The other ones will keep like normal. And now it kind of depends on whether you're building a haunted house, an abandoned house that is a little bit damaged, or that you just want to build the full normal mansion. Full normal mansion, just greenhouse doors everywhere to kind of serve as windows. But if you're building like a destroyed building, then you want to maybe randomize a little bit where there are still windows and where you have some open gaps. So I would go for something like this. Then for all the other windows, you kind of want to add in some doors or greenhouse doors. Doesn't really matter, just as windows. And again, you kind of want to randomize maybe where there are still windows and where they're not. But for these ones, I would always change them to the nice fancy window skin from the steampunk skin. So yeah, you kind of just want to randomize which one have the windows and which one don't. Just kind of go with the flow if you're building an abandoned haunted house, of course. If you're not, then of course you want to have windows everywhere. Then it's time to build this wall. And this wall we're actually going to build 3 times. So we'll have 2 normal walls at the bottom. We'll do the same thing right here and the same thing right there, because they're all going to be the same kind of windows and walls. Then we'll go to the top where we'll have the door openings. We'll have the doorways in the middle, connecting up the windows like this. And of course, we want to do that everywhere. So we'll just connect these up and then have the door frame on top. And these you want to fully skin to the steampunk skins to get the proper window look. And yeah, just a nice fancy manor feeling. So we're going to do that for all of them. And once again, if you're building a abandoned mansion, you might want to think about leaving some of them open and broken. If you're building a normal building, of course, you probably just want to fill all of them in. We actually also want to make sure that we have the skin right there at the bottom as well. If you didn't do that, somehow I skipped that one. We should have that everywhere. So we'll do the same thing here along the bottom, making sure that we have those skins. That is the front of the building pretty much done for now until we start with the roof. Let's take out our wall windows and we'll have some at the top right here, right there. Here as well. We're just going to go around the building a little bit. There we want one. There as well. On both sides. And on this side, we kind of just want to fill in the whole wall with these windows at the top. Again, then we kind of want to randomize which ones do have windows in them, which ones do not. To just simulate that broken bit. And of course, wherever you do have them, change them into the steampunk skin to make them look a little bit nicer all the way around. Then for this wall, we just kind of want to fill it all the way in, just like this. And of course, we'll have the bottom layer as the fancy steampunk skin. For the rest, nothing is really going to change over here. This wall, we're also just going to fill in all of them like so. Just like that. And here on this side, we'll do the same thing. We'll be filling in those wall all the way to. And then the bottom ones, of course, we're going to change to the steampunk skin to make them look a little bit nicer. And then here in the middle, we actually want to fill in the bottom layer with normal walls. Change those to the steampunk skin. And then we're going to make more of those tall windows. So we'll have the doorway on top, the tall doorways in the middle, connecting back up with the rest of the design. And we want to update the skins for all of this part to make them look nice and fancy. And once more, we kind of want to randomize the way these windows are in or broken if you're making a haunted version once again. Okay, then here we want to go up by 2 walls. So just go around this little addition with 2 high walls. We'll take out the frontier skin, change to the glass variant, and then fill them in like so, creating a little glass window, big window right here. Then we'll take out our triangle roof pieces, fill them in like so until we reach the wall. And change these to the steampunk skin like that. Then we can have our sloped stone walls right there. And filling in a normal wall right on top of that. And all changing it to the steampunk skin to make them blend in like this. So there we go. That is basically the bottom layer of the manor, which is already starting to look quite nice. Then before we start building the roof, we might also want to look at how we're gonna make a nice little entrance and staircase up. So what we'll do is we'll have a wall right here with some pillars on the end of it. Then this is where we'll take out our triangle ceilings. We'll fill it in just like so. And then afterwards we'll have some normal ceilings filling in the rest. But you will notice there is a tiny gap between this and the wall. We're just going to fill that in by using a little beam across the back. And that shouldn't really overlap with the wall. Because as I said, because of these triangle pieces, they kind of don't line up all the way. But this is how we fill it in and fix it. Then we'll have our staircase going up to this part. So we'll want to snap from there, add a staircase like this. And on the other side, we also want to have a staircase like that. Of course, filling in both sides of the staircase so that we can't see underneath like this. This is actually where you probably want to add another pillar like there and right there. so that once again we kind of fill in that shape. And this is a really good opportunity to use these secret doorways so that you can hide something underneath here. Maybe your generator if you want to live here after all, or just some treasure, whatever you need. And that's going to be the kind of staircase landing. And then, of course, we want to take up these staircases all the way to the top layer. So we'll just have the staircase go up like this from both sides by 3. And that should reach the right level once again. And then, yeah, you kind of just want to make sure that you have some railings along the side of the staircases. And it doesn't really matter what you built this out of, because we're going to change this to the frontier skin. If you don't have that, you could also just use normal wood, of course. There we go. So we'll have some nice railings all the way. And yeah, that is going to be our staircase. And then, once again, as I said, we kind of want to change all this to the frontier skin because that looks a little bit nicer. I'll leave it up to you whether you want this to be wood as well, but probably I would just go and change this all to the frontier skin because, yeah, that looks quite nice, especially the stairs and the railings. I really like the look of that. So we're just going to change all that, change all this so that it all looks nice and fancy once again. And there we go. The staircase should look something like this once we're done with it. Okay, then it's time to start the next layer. We're actually gonna make a little indent right here. We're gonna have 4 quarter ceilings like this. Then we'll have 4 normal ceilings. And then we'll have one more layer of these quarter ceilings. You'll find out in a little bit why, but we just need to have that in place right now. Then here we can just fill this in with normal ceilings. And that's kind of what we're going to do all the way across right now. So we're going to start filling this entire layer in. We're going to leave a little gap here at the back, of course, for where the staircase is going to be. But the rest of it, we're all going to fill in with the full ceiling so that we get a nice second layer of this manor, of this build that we could use. There we go, just filling all the ceilings in, and it should line up with the bit that we made at first. There we go. There should be still a little gap between the stairs and your ceiling, so we'll have 2 quarter ceilings right there, and that should fix the gap. And then along this side you probably want to add in a nice little railing so that you don't fall in the staircase without intending so. Then we'll take out our quarter ceilings once more and we'll add a little lip here on the back of the building just to kind of extend this layer and bring in an extra layer on the outside as well. So we're just gonna follow this all the way until we reach the other side. And of course, here on the other side of the building, we're going to do the same thing. So we'll start out with our little lip going in like this. And then we'll continue that over here, of course. We'll also want to continue this over here on the side of this build that we added as well. And we actually want to continue all the way on the front here of this part. Just going all the way around until we circle back to the main building right here, and that should be it. Then we'll take out our frontier skin. We want to start changing all of these ceilings to the frontier because I prefer that wood. You could also use the steampunk variant if you like that more. And of course, we want to also change these railings to be the wooden variant as well. So yeah, go around, change all the ceilings to either the frontier wood or the steampunk wood, whatever you prefer. Alright, so we basically have a brand new foundation to start the second layer of this build, which is also going to be quite cool to do. We start with some of these windows. We want to line them up right above where we have these tall windows. On the edge, we'll have 2 windows right there. We'll do the same thing actually here on the other side. So like that. And then here as well, 2 of those windows. And then on top of those, we're gonna add in our sloped walls to make a little nice roof addition. So that's just gonna be a little addition to add some extra interest to the roof, which we'll have plenty of. Then we'll take out our roof and we'll start laying down some parts. So right here, we'll have the roof. We'll have a roof right there as well. And right over here and right over there. We want to actually extend it by one on the outside on both sides as well. That's going to be our overhang for the roof. That's how we're going to start it here over on this side. Then we'll take out the roof corners. We'll build a nice corner in here. And then we can extend this part of the roof to create a little overhang here for this part. We'll have a little quarter wall on top with a thin pillar snap to that. Then we remove the quarter wall once again. And then we can have some railings on top of this part of the roof, as well as down here and sticking out. But make sure you flip them around on both ends of the roof just to add that detail in. And then here on top, of course, we want to add in that little steampunk lamp once more as an extra little bit of detail on the roof. Here on the side, we also want to make sure that we add in some slope walls like that. And we want to have some pillars on the corners. So we'll do those pillars right there everywhere. And then here on the back, it's easier to add in the roofs on the side of this part for now, so that we can also snap in those sloped walls for the sides right there. It's just a little bit easier to do the same things on the on both sides at the same time. We want to change these pillars to the steampunk skin, so we can change them to the right variant. Okay, and then once again for these windows, we kind of want to make sure that we do some variations of which ones do have windows and which ones don't, depending on, of course, if you're building this as abandoned and haunted. And we'll change all the skins to the steampunk variant. Make sure not to forget the windows and not to forget those slope walls on the side either. So we can change this whole bit that we've just built to the steampunk variant. Then we want to take out the roof. We want to extend it like this, so we have an overhang of 1 on the outside. We'll do that for all of these that we've just made, of course. They're all going to be the same thing, like so and like so. And then we actually want to take out our triangle roof, the corner roof, and add 2 corners next to each other like this to add a little bit more shape to it and blend it back in with the main roof. So like this for all 3 of them. Just going in and adding these corners like so. Then we want to take out this little quarter wall and add them on the end of all of them. We can snap a thin pillar to all of the ends. Then we can actually remove those walls once more. And instead adding a nice railing on top of the roof like this. We want to do that for all 3 of them once more. There we go. We can take out the steampunk lights and add them on top of each of the little pillars that we have in place as a nice little bit of detail. Then we also want to make sure that we add some railings down here on the normal roof parts. You can't do them on the corners, so only on these parts. We'll add some of these railings in as well. And then it's time to take out our steampunk skin and change this whole little thing that we've just built to the steampunk variants, like so. Should look quite nice. And of course, we'll do the same thing for all 3 of them. Okay, then we're going to start giving some shape to the roof. We'll fill in all this. We want to make sure those are 3 high in total. And we can fill in this entire part of it like so, all the way up to the end for this backside of the roof like that. And then of course here we'll have the corners to connect with the two additions that we've made on the back already. Here at the front, of course, we're going to fill in the same height like this. But we'll leave these 4 in the middle right there open for now. So like that. And we'll connect this shape all the way on the top at least. And then we can also fill in this layer and we'll take out some corners for this part. So we'll create this shape first. Of course, we'll also have the corners here to connect up to the other bit that we made on the front right there. And then we can take out some roofs for this part. We're going to start out by having roofs going on like this. So without intersecting with the bit that we've already created. And then here we're going to have corners like this, which kind of connect back up to the roof. Now, before we go much further, we want to add in some chimneys in some places to add a little bit more detail to the roof. So we want to add one right here on the side of this 3x3 that we're working on, so that we have a nice chimney there. We also want to add one right here, which is in the middle of the main roof where we still have the gap. We want to add it as close to the railings as we can without overlapping too much. There we go. So that's a nice chimney on the back. And then here on this side, we want to have one right here next to that window partition. And we'll place one right there for another little nice chimney on this side as well. Then for this part of the roof, we want to make sure that we connect them up like so. Should be 2 normal pieces. Then we can have some corner pieces there, which should nicely work with the rest of the roof. And this, of course, we can just continue to fill in like that. And over here, we can actually add one more railing behind it. The other 2, we're going to leave open for now. And then here, we're also going to add a railing on top of the main roof. We're going to leave out these 2 still. And we're going to continue the railing on this side here as well. And on this part, we also want to add in that little railing like so. On the ends of the normal roof, we can also add the railings underneath. Like this, as the little bit of detail that we also had on the other parts of the roof that we've already done. We'll do the same thing, of course, here on the other side of the main roof. And now we want to take out our steampunk skin and we can start changing all the skins for the roof that we've placed so far. And get the nice steampunk variant, because that's just a very nice looking roof, and I feel like that very much fits a nice little mansion or manor, even if it's a haunted abandoned mansion. So we'll change all these skins and just basically go around everywhere to update all the skins or all the roof parts that we've just placed before. Okay, and then we actually can add some windows in like this. So one right here and one on the other side of the chimney as well. And we want to mirror that to the other side of the roof too. So some nice little windows additions right there and there. Then for this side of the roof, we want to add a window right there. So the first one, then one next to this bit on the other side as well. Meanwhile, we've got a little present here. Window over there. And then on the other side, basically the same pattern. So one from the start, then one over here, one over there, and one more on this side as well. All right, then it's time to add in these walls for the end of the roof. So first one, the one above the big window that we've made. We first want to make sure that we get the right snap point for a slope wall here on the end. Then we can connect normal walls to it like so. Back to these slope walls. We're going to make a shape like this, which might be a little bit strange. Then we'll add in our slope walls here in this pattern as well. Might look really weird, but for now we're just going to change these skins to be the steampunk variant like this. Take out our frontier glass skin and have a nice little window like that over there. Here it's going to start out quite similar, so we're going to go with our little sloped wall. We have a normal wall, but then we're going to change it up. Then we're going to have two little quarter walls before we have another normal wall like this. And we can actually have two of them on top of each other. Then we'll continue with two little quarter walls. Another normal wall. And then we can go back into the slope wall. We'll have slope walls right there and there as well. On the top here too. And then we'll fill in the gaps with all quarter walls once more. Now this is actually where we want to have some pillars here on the side and change those to the steampunk skins right away. Get them to the stone variant, of course, to blend in what we've built so far. We actually also want to add in some pillars next to these as well. And of course, we'll also update those to the steampunk skins. And then, of course, change them to the stone variants like this. Then we can change those corners to the steampunk skins. Just the corners though, as we'll change the middle ones here to the frontier glass skin to create a nice tall window like that. In order to add a little bit more to this wall, what we can do is actually have some pillars down here as well. Just to kind of break up this wall a little bit. And of course we want to change them to the steampunk variants and go for the stone variants, just so that we have some lines breaking up this wall and making it a little less flat and boring. And then it's time to have a nice little bit for this part of the roof. We want to go and get the right snap point for these slope walls on top of here. We actually want to make sure that we get those twice, so on both sides of these quarter walls. Then we'll fill in the middle with some quarter walls like this to kind of hide that fact. Then we'll have some quarter walls right there. And then we'll have a little door right there in the middle before once again finding the snap point for our slope walls on top. So basically we create a tiny little balcony here in the middle of these. We of course want to add our railing in there. Have a railing in there as well. And of course fill in our door. Now we can change these all to the steampunk skin like this. These ones as well. Of course the railings too. I would keep those stone unless you prefer the metal. And also make sure that we change these slope walls to the steampunk skin as well. We kind of want to support this a little bit better, so we want to have some beams going along the bottom here of this side. We will change them all to the steampunk skin. We will also change them to the stone variant. We'll flip this one so that the gold is right here in the middle. We'll have this one. We'll flip that so the gold is on the outside. And then this to the stone variant. And then we have a nice little pattern for that beam at the bottom of that part of the build. Okay, now we're going to take out our little quarter ceilings and we're going to place 4 of them like there on top of this part of the roof. We're going to do the same thing over here to create the same little pattern. I'm not quite sure if you can do this on official or not, but we kind of need to have some quarter walls underneath. They are slightly going to overlap into the roof. If you can't do that on official, just have a railing like we did on that part of the roof and leave out this little detail that we're adding. Or just have the ceiling float there, but that might look a little bit weird. You could, I guess, also try to just have a railing underneath. I don't know if that would be allowed. We'll have some railings on the side of this, like so. And we want to make sure that we do the same thing here for this other one. So railings around and of course those quarter walls underneath to fill in those little gaps for this addition. Then we'll take out our thin pillars and add on the corners of these little additions that we're working on. Then we can take out a full ceiling, add them on top, both of them, before adding a little layer of quarter ceilings around. All the way to extend it a little bit. We'll do that on both sides. This might be a good moment to update the railings, the pillars, and the ceilings to the steampunk variants, because that looks a little bit nicer, of course. And then we'll take out our roof corners and we can build a little tiny roof on top of here so that we have a little tower basically on top of this part of the roof, just as an extra little bit of interest and detail. And of course, you want to make sure that you repeat that for both of these. So this is also going to be updated, and we're going to also build the roof on top of this side. So once again, just take out these roof corners, build a little roof on top of this tiny tower, and then update them to the steampunk skins. Now, in order to make these towers a little bit more pointy, what you can do is right on top, on the middle, you can place one of these lanterns, the oil lamppost from the Frontier skins that we got, or the Frontier pack. And yeah, it kind of just helps with extending the towers, making it taller and a little pointy edge. I wouldn't even turn on the lights. It's just a nice little way to make them nice and pointy. Now we're pretty much done with the entire build, except for this gaping hole that we left, and also why did we do the ceiling so weird. It's all about to be revealed. So we want to go up by our pillars right here and make sure that they're too higher than the roof that we've got going on right now on this side. And then of course on these other corners, we're just going to line them up to be the same height. And that's going to be another little tower addition to our build. Make sure to add a door right there and right there. Then we can fill in these walls up to the roof. There we go. We'll fill in these as well to the same height around. There we go. And then here on the front as well, of course. Now here on the inside, you probably want to have some slope walls to close off the little gap that's left behind otherwise. And of course, we want to add in some doors to this structure. Okay, all of these pillars inside and out, we want to change to the steampunk skins now, in order to make them look a little bit nicer, of course. And make sure you change them to the stone variants to blend in with all the other pillars that we've used. Okay, now on the back of this tower, we want to have some quarter walls like this, go all the way up on both sides, and then we'll have a normal wall right there in the middle, and then we'll have two pillars on the sides right there, and then we can have a railing right there in the middle. We will also repeat that on the other two sides of the tower, not on the front, however. So for these, we're going to go up with these quarter walls all the way to the top. Then we'll have the normal wall on the top of that in the middle, and then we'll have some of these extra pillars in there like so, and then we can fill in with our railing in the middle there. We're going to take out the custom cosmetic again with the little archway. We're going to place those above all those gaps that we've just made, and you'll see they'll line up pretty nicely with those normal stone pillars to create these little archways for the tower. Then here on the front, we want to take out our slope walls like this. Here actually, we want to first raise up a normal wall so we can kind of fill in this pattern like so. And then we can basically make this shape all around. We'll fill in it like that. Then for now, we can start a little staircase up to this part as well, going in with this spiral staircase like so. And of course, having a nice pillar in the middle to support it all. Then we want to have our ceilings like this so that you can actually walk around on the top of here if you want to. And we can actually also fill in those ceilings on top and have a little edge of big ceilings all around this to make this tower slightly bigger on the outside. Now we should also be able to add in our slope walls to fit in the missing pieces for this wall. We want to make sure that we change them to the fancy skin of the steampunk variant. And then we also want to make sure that we go around the tower, adding in one layer of those steampunk skins around. And we also want to change these skins on the top to be these steampunk skins or the frontier skins, whatever you prefer. Speaking of the frontier skins, we're going to change these to the frontier skins to create that round window once again. Then we'll change to the normal frontier skins and we'll change these ceilings inside and the staircase to the frontier wood as well as this pillar. Then it's time to start on the roof here. We want 2 normal roof pieces in the middle on each side to kind of get this roof started like this. And then we can fill in our corner pieces and of course on top as well to create our nice roof for the tower here. There we go. Now technically you can actually remove the middle of this if you want to. If you want to see this tower, it's really optional. You don't really need that extra space probably. We want to change these skins to the roofs to get that nice steampunk manor look and go all the way around. And if you want to, you could even add some windows to it, especially if you remove those ceilings, because then I guess there is some light that could get in there and just adds a tiny extra detail to the top of this roof. Then we want to take out this lantern again and have it on top to make the tower a little bit more spiky on top as well. And then I have the Western Deco mod, which has a clock so that I could add a nice little clock face here. I think there's also a custom cosmetic version of this if you want to use this clock on official. Of course, we also have a normal clock, but then you would have to do this wall a little bit differently because I don't think you can snap that except to a normal wall. So instead of the 4x4 that we have right now, what you would have to do is basically create a little border of quarter walls like this. And then have a normal wall in the middle so you can snap the clock from the Bob Talltales to that. So you would do this instead. Before I forget, I actually also want to have a beam right here at the bottom of these windows. And we want to change the outer two to the steampunk skin. Change this one to this variant. This one as well, but flip it so that the gold is on the inside for both of them and leave the middle one like normal. And then we pretty much have our nice steampunk build. There's a few more skins that we want to do, mainly these railings. Now you can just change them to the frontier skin if you want, but if you have used the Manor mod skins already, there is also a nice railing skin for them. So yeah, this one, apply to stone railing. That's the one you want to grab. And we can place them on here to add a nice stone railing that looks a little bit nicer than the default one. Fits in very well with the stone textures. And this is also the one that we want to use right here at the bottom to create some more fancy ones. If you do not want to use them, you can also use the frontier skin. They're very similar, but just from wood. And then you can also add the skins to this, but it's a little bit of a hassle, but you need to add one for the left railing and the right sloped railing. So you need to go in here twice at least to do the skin. So you'll see it snaps to that one, but not to this one. So we'll pick the other variant as well. And then we should be able to place it. And then you have your nice railings everywhere. And you have your nice mansion. Now this is just a mansion with some broken glass. If you want to really turn it into a haunted or abandoned building, you take out your signs, you make sure that you have the wall sign, and then basically what you start doing is start placing a bunch of these. You can just have them like this, but you might also want to remove the snapping so you can go a little bit more creative and chaotic like that, and just create some of these boarded up windows basically using your signs. Be careful, as you can see at the top, there is a limit for how many signs you can use in a region. So yeah, you probably want to make sure that if you're going to use this as a base as well and you want some more signs afterwards, that you maybe don't go too crazy with your signage, because yeah, you will hit the limit quite quickly otherwise. But this is basically how you go around and really make this look like a haunted, abandoned building. And yeah, just add a bunch of details. And then of course you can make it look overgrown, either with the plant pots from the Bobchild Hills, add a bunch of plants that way, or with some mods that allow you to place more plants. But yeah, it is a quite cool mansion, manor, whatever you want to call it. And the abandoned vibes do really make this stand out even more. Alright, time for a quick tour of my full manor that I've built over here. As you can see, I've got a bunch of boarded up windows. I actually hit the max of those things, a little bit too crazy. You can also see that I've made it very overgrown. That's using the JVH landscaping mod to add the extra plants in. But also just the default setting. This is all just default plants that normally you would clear out when you start building. It's a really fun thing to keep them around and get the overgrown look that way as well, without having to add the extra building pieces. But you can see some of these trees from JVH will really help you. But you could go around with your shovel, find some of those dead barren trees around. There is some actually here on Aberration around as well, where you could definitely build them. I've built my little build right here on this little rock, which is quite cool. I've had some broken down bridge, and then the tutorial I built over there in the back. But yeah, this is the way my build turned out, with all the added details, with all the boarded up windows and all the decorations around it. I really love the way this turned out. I feel like the spooky feelings are definitely present with this one. I can't wait for Halloween, for the Fair Evolved or the Fair Ascended event to hit the game and yeah, enjoy them in my spooky manner. So let's do a quick walk around. If you want to see this in a little bit more peace and a little bit slower paced, I've got a full tour of this base already so you can enjoy it. So yeah, basically some cages around to make it more scary, decoration from JVH as well, and just some very chaotic interior to really get that abandoned feel, that haunted feel to the place. Some onyx around as well, of course. And this is basically what my place looks like. But of course, it's definitely big enough that you could also just use this as your normal survivor base. I'm actually quite tempted to start living in here during the spooky season at least. And yeah, it's just a really nice little manor with a fair amount of space actually on the inside as well to be used as your base. So yeah, I think it's quite a fun build to make and to use. And yeah, the spooky vibes, the broken down vibes, I actually think is quite nice. It's really crazy because you wouldn't want to live in here, but yeah, I kind of do want to live in this broken down place. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's build tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like if you want to see more build videos like this. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss out on any future builds and tutorials. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.